recording has started. So, good morning, everyone. This is Commissioner Dave Yamamoto. Today is Tuesday, December 20th, 2022, and we will call this meeting to order at 8 a.m. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone to please mute your phones. You can do this by pressing star 6. Please unmute yourself when called to speak. Again, pressing star 6. Very important for all others to remain muted. Thank you so much. So we've called this meeting to order at 8 a.m. I want to welcome everyone. And let's start with the Commissioner's roll call. Commissioner Scar, are you with us?
Good morning, I'm here.
Good morning. And Commissioner Bell?
Good morning, I'm here also.
Yes, good morning. So,
Commissioner, I need to... Sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
I just need to let you know that I have to leave this meeting early because I'm headed to an annual meeting with Public Works, and so I want to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas.
Thank you so much. So, would you like some time early in the meeting?
I actually don't think I'll have time, but thank you very much for offering.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Give my best to everyone at Public Works.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, as we always do, let's start with Adventist Health Tillamook. Do we have Eric Swanson with us?
I'm here. Good morning, Commissioner.
Yes, good morning.
So this morning we have 12 patients in the hospital, no COVID patients, no patients boarding in the emergency department, 9 surgery cases scheduled today. Ambulance did 7 911 transports yesterday, 2 transfers, and 2 transports home. From the December 14th COVID report from the Oregon Health Authority, the number of hospitalized patients with COVID-19 across Oregon is 315, which is 4 less than yesterday. There are 36 COVID-19 patients in intensive care unit beds, 3 more than yesterday, 13 are on ventilators. There were 4,901 emergency department visits across Oregon, and 3.4% of all of those visits were for COVID-like illness. There are 21 available adult ICU beds out of 351 total, that's 6% availability, and 79 available adult non-ICU beds out of 1,948, that's 4% availability, and that's for Region 1. This is today's data. Across Oregon, there's 266 patients boarding in emergency departments waiting for beds. That's 7 less than yesterday, and there's 454 patients that are discharge delays that are in occupying inpatient beds, but they're waiting to find another location for them to be discharged to, and that's 1 more than yesterday. Dr. Peter Graven at OHSU gave his COVID report on the 16th, and he reports that as of the 14th, 315 people are in hospitals with COVID-19. That's down from a peak of 370 on November 29th. The number of people in the hospital with flu was at near record levels during the week ending December 3. The number of people in the hospital with RSV reached record levels during the week ending December 3, but the number is dropping. COVID, flu, RSV are all expected to stay high throughout the end of December and then decline over the next 2 months. And Oregon has seemed to reach its peak in emergency department visits for COVID-19, which was November 20th, positive COVID tests on December 4th, and levels of COVID in wastewater on December 7th. And as of December 16th, 8 children were in the hospital with COVID, positive COVID tests, and COVID-19, flu, and RSV cases are expected to drop in the next 2 months. So unless you have questions for me, that's my report for you this morning.
Eric, as always, thank you so much for being here. Do we have any questions for Eric Swanson?
Eric, David Gomberg here. Hope that you can hear me clearly.
I can.
I appreciate your regular updates on COVID. This is also the cough and sniffle season, and if people are finding themselves coughing, as I'm doing all too often, I hope that they're doing what I do, and that is to get a test and make sure that it's nothing more than the sniffles. How do people get test kits if they are concerned about testing themselves for what may be symptoms?
So if they want a test kit, I know this because I was walking through our lobby, and we have test kits available at all of our clinics and in the at the lab waiting window in the lobby of the hospital. And they can just stop by and pick up a kit if they want to do a home test. Those are available. I don't know. I think we need to ask Marlene about what the health department, or we can ask Gail about the Reinhardt Clinic if you want to get test kits from them. But from the hospital or Adventist Health, that's how we get test kits.
Thank you, Eric, and thank you, Representative Gomberg, for that question. Eric, I've got a follow-up question to that. I mean, earlier,
Sure.
We were getting free test kits, and I think many families, many homes had more than one or two available to them. Some of them are now expired, but I understand that test kits really are good for much further past the expiration date. Can you address that at all?
Well, you're asking one of those tough questions that you like to ask, and I just don't have the answer. I don't know how test kits work, and I'm going to probably say that if it's past the it's kind of like the milk in your refrigerator. If it's past the expiration date, drinking it might be risky. So I really don't have the right answer for you this morning, Commissioner, on that one. That's way outside my area of expertise.
I appreciate that so much, though, Eric. I really do. Any other questions for Eric Swanson? Eric, as always, thank you so much for being here.
Glad to be here. Have a Merry Christmas. Thanks.
Thank you. Absolutely.
This Commissioner,
thank you. Yeah.
Commissioner Scarn, I don't have a question. I have a couple comments.
Yeah.
One is, please get those test kits before you need them. They are available, as Eric indicated, through the hospital and Adventist Health System. They are also available at your health department and at Reinhardt Clinic. And I'm sure they'll talk about that when they get their moment here. But please remember to get your test kit before you need it. The point is that we would not want you entering the hospital and or the clinic systems when you think you are positive, or so get them ahead of time so you have them at your home in case you need them. So that's just my quick sort of public service message. The other thing is they are also available now through the federal government. Many of you may have gone to the website and gotten ordered test kits from the federal government for free. That program ended. It has again restarted. So I'm pretty sure that when we get either Marlene or Ed on here, they'll talk a little bit about that as well.
Thank you for that, Commissioner Scarr. And I want to go back to a comment that Representative Gomberg made. If you are feeling a little ill, feeling some sniffles and things, yes, get tested. Don't interact with people. So this was 2 Fridays ago. I drove down on Thursday afternoon to Coos Bay for an OPAC meeting, Ocean Policy Advisory Council, and I was supposed to go out to dinner with 2 Coos County commissioners Thursday evening. Just about 5 o'clock, after I'd been there for a little bit, I started to my throat was a little scratchy, and I knew I just wasn't feeling 100%. Didn't have a test kit with me. So I did beg off of dinner that evening and thought I'd see how I felt Friday morning to attend the OPAC meeting. And sure enough, I wasn't feeling any better. So I called and begged off and told them, I'm so sorry I'm here, but I really don't want to infect anyone. So I did drive home on Friday, got home and I tested, and it was not COVID. I tested a couple times over the weekend also. So it was just a little bit of a cold, and it didn't really affect me much at all. But it's those types of things that just make you a little more cognizant of how you're feeling and interacting with other people, because if it were COVID, even if it wasn't COVID, if it was a cold or the beginning of a flu, it's just not a good idea to interact with people and with the possibility of passing on your germs. So again, I appreciate that comment from Representative Gomberg very much. So, speaking of Representative Gomberg, it's time for the Coastal Caucus, and I'm not sure who we have online. I know we have Representative Gomberg. I'm hoping we have a Representative Suzanne Weber. I'm hoping we have Representative-elect Cyrus Jabity, maybe Senator Anderson or Senator Armitage. I don't know who's online, but with that, I will just turn it over to the Coastal Caucus.
Well, I'm not hearing. I am not hearing Senator-elect Weber, so I'll be happy to jump in, Commissioners. David Goldberg here, and it occurs to me that this will be our last program before the holidays have concluded, and all of the holidays are upon us. Tonight will be the third night of Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and of course Christmas being celebrated. Everybody's got something to celebrate by the fire, even though it's a little cold and damp outside. I thought I would begin our program this morning with outlining a couple of gifts from your state government. And I can already hear people pulling their covers over their head and burying themselves in their pillow and saying, "Oh my gosh, we've gotten enough presents from the government already. Don't give me any more." But seriously, there's a couple to consider. And the first one is this: the state treasurer's office has a webpage now where they catalog and allow you to search to see whether there are any unclaimed funds in your name. Now, what are we talking about here? Maybe a government agency tried to send you a check and it came back to them in the mail and they couldn't find you and they ended up putting it in the catalog of all about it, or somebody opened a bank account in your name and you never knew about it, and so that bank account is out there hovering with unclaimed unclaimed dollars in it. Or there are cases where banks have found abandoned safety deposit boxes, and the contents of that go into the unclaimed funds report. And you can go to the treasurer's webpage and click on the link for unclaimed dollars. All you have to do is enter your name, and it will come up with a list of whether there are any funds on account in your name. And the treasurer's office has actually connected people to money in the tens of millions of dollars, trying to get money reconnected with the people that it belongs to. That's a great program, and all you got to do is go to the webpage, enter your name, and see whether maybe there's some extra holiday money in the account for you. I also want to mention a service I think very important from the Department of Consumer and Business Services, because they now have insurance advocates available to assist the public in figuring out what kind of insurance you need or how to use your insurance, or most importantly, if maybe you've made an insurance claim and you are not happy with the results from your insurance company, the Department of Business and Consumer Services will go to bat for you. And they've, again, gotten millions of dollars for Oregonians in insurance claims that the insurance company initially denied, but with the help of this department, we're able to get that money back. That's a great program. They've also got a lot of information online about earthquake insurance, whether you need it, how much you might need, how you get it, because that's not normally part of a homeowner or a rental insurance program. Over at the Department of Revenue, I know people are a little skeptical that the Department of Revenue is here to help you, but they have now a new taxpayer advocate, a new office created by the legislature and the Department of Revenue that's there to help taxpayers navigate the tax system, figure out if they need to pay taxes, but more importantly, if you didn't get your refund, if there's something that you think that you're entitled to that did not come through, these folks will go to bat in finding those dollars and reconnecting them with you. So that's a third program where we can help you get money back for the holidays that is owed to you, but you may not be even aware that it's out there. The final thing that I want to mention in my collection of gifts for the holidays is that after a 3-year break, Whale Watching Week is back, and there will be whale watching volunteers up and down the coastline helping people watch those magnificent marine mammals as they are swimming south to go to the warm waters off southern Baja California for the birthing season. Thousands of whales will be going right by our coastline. There's plenty of places where you can watch them either from onshore or if you want to get out in the water and get up close and personal. Whale Watching Week is going to peak with the holidays and end just after New Year. And I'm so pleased we're back to doing it live and in person. So, Commissioner, I'm from the government and I'm here to help you is kind of an old joke, but there's a couple of examples of good things that are going on that are available to help people out from the government, and I thought that I would impart them all on you here during this holiday season. I hope that people listening out there, no matter what they celebrate this time of year, that they do so with joy and love, warmth, and gusto.
Thank you, Representative Gomberg. Appreciate that message very much. And I did notice that you did text me, and yes, we will be having a community call a week from today, the last one of the calendar year. So if you could be here, that would be wonderful.
Well, I'll plan to be with you, Commissioner, as part of my farewell Tillamook tour. Of course, that with the changing in the boundary lines, that even though I've been reelected, I have not been reelected to represent part of Tillamook County. The county has been consolidated into one legislative district rather than two. And at this point, Senator-elect Weber will take over the senatorial task from the beginning of the year, and Representative-elect Javity will become your representative for all of Tillamook County. We've talked about that before, but it takes effect with the beginning of the year.
Understand, and even though you're calling it your farewell tour, we're not going to say farewell to you, because we know that your heart is all up and down the coast. We understand that, and we appreciate that very much. And even though you will no longer officially represent any part of Tillamook County, we know that we will have your ear, and we appreciate that very much.
As always, Commissioner, you're being very kind, and what you're really saying between the lines is you're going to keep calling me, and I will keep taking your calls.
Well, yes, that's kind of what I'm saying. Thank you so much. Do we have any other of our Coastal Caucus members with us this morning? I understand it is the holidays, and it's everyone is busy going 100 different directions, and so I certainly do understand.
Commissioner Yamamoto, this is Representative Javity.
Yeah, good morning. I was hoping someone else was there. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks again for hosting this. I just looked up if Representative Gomberg is still on the line, my unclaimed property, and I found $150. So thank you, Representative Gomberg. I appreciate that.
You're kidding.
Yeah, from about 10 years ago.
Sounds like Representative Javity is going to be buying me lunch.
Yeah. I know, right? And it's early Christmas. That's pretty cool, pretty easy too, and I think it took about 2 minutes to fill out the claim form, and they're going to send it to me with a small commission going to the Democrats, especially Representative Gomberg, so go figure. But to report for me this last week, it's been busy. They've been continuing to try to get their new representative-elects up to speed on the different agencies and different programs that will be responsible to have some knowledge about in the coming session. I went to OHSU on Wednesday last week. Got a tour of their facility, met with the president of the university and the CEO and the other leadership, and we discussed how they position themselves to respond to future health issues. We talked a lot about their nursing shortage and how that's not just limited to OHSU, but statewide, and what they're trying to do to address that. They are aware of our healthcare shortage and staffing and nurses out here on the coast as well, and I say it's widespread. I went up to Seaside as well as last week. I was invited up there. They've got a real issue where they don't have any buildable lots that are outside of a hazard zone, so they're looking for some relief or some help to make it possible to build some high-density housing to serve their local economy up in that area. And then on Thursday, I met with TBCC with Senator-elect Suzanne Weber and their board, and discussed their vision, their strategy for the upcoming year, their legislative needs. We talked about the new healthcare building that's been approved and waiting to start with construction and some of their long-term goals and some of the legislative requests and needs. And I'll let the president of the college, if he's here or if he's, I don't want to steal thunder, he may want to roll that out when he does. But some good things coming from there. And then yesterday, I don't know if Representative Weber's here. I think she was traveling to Georgia to be with family for the holidays, but she hosted a Highway 30 discussion, which I know doesn't impact us directly, but for those of our community that maybe travel up that way, know how perilous that road can be. And so we were on a call with ODOT yesterday discussing authorizing a study in this next session to look at what can be done to reduce the number of accidents that have happened. And a couple of things of note, the state police said that in 2015, we had 50-ish incidents related to motor vehicle accidents related to drugs and alcohol. And in 2020, that spiked to 160, I think was the number. And so they've seen a rise kind of across the system as drivers' behavior has been changing, and so it's not necessarily the roads have gotten worse, it's just the decisions people are making are getting worse. We don't have any current data that they presented yesterday for 21 or 22, but we are assuming right now it might be the same. So hopefully some more news out of that study, and Senator-elect Weber did talk briefly about the Highway 6 study. We're still waiting for some more findings from that, but it is something that she seems to be got her hands around and is systematically tackling so that we can make the roads safer in the district. Other than that, they're going to swear us in like Representative, I keep wanting to call him President Gomberg, so don't let that get to your head. But Representative Gomberg was saying that we'll be sworn in around January 9th. Session starts January 17th, and over the next I think they're taking it easy on us this week, but next week we'll be back at it again with lots of training and meetings to get us up to speed. And that is all I have to report this week.
Well, Dr. Representative-elect Davity, appreciate very much you being here. It seems like you're picking this up very quickly, which we appreciate so much. We appreciate you being here on Tuesday mornings with us. It's always good to know what's going on. You've got your work cut out for you. Starting in January, I understand there's over 4,400 bills that have been dropped. So I have a feeling we're going to be speaking quite a bit. And I appreciate everything you do for us and everything you will do for us.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. And, of course, if anybody wants to reach out directly, please do. My cell phone number is 503-801-5363. That's probably the best way to get a hold of me if you just want to, if you have an issue you want to discuss or set up a meeting, and then we can set that up. But thank you for all the hard work you're doing. Thanks to our local law enforcement and healthcare leaders that are making it, putting in the effort right now with responding to so many incidents. I know we're short-staffed, and so that's stretching everybody else pretty thin, and I want you to know it's noticed and appreciated, and thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. Do we have anyone else from the Coastal Caucus that has joined us? Thank you so much. Let's move on to the Tillamook County Community Health Center. Do we have Marlene Putman and or Ed Colson with us?
Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Tillamook County. Good morning, Commissioners. Ed Colson with the Health Department here.
Good morning.
Good morning. So as of December 14th, Tillamook County had 20 new cases of COVID-19 and a test positivity rate of 38.71% measured over the past week. However, community level of disease impact is low, with 5.2 per new COVID-19 cases admitted to the hospital and 1.7% per 100,000 staffed inpatient beds occupied by a confirmed COVID-19 patient. So given the increase in COVID-19 cases we have had locally and the surge of other respiratory viruses such as flu and RSV that were brought out early in the report, these have put several Oregon hospitals into a crisis mode due to a lack of beds for pediatric patients and even adult patients. So hospitals are being pushed past their current ICU bed capacity, which hasn't happened during the heaviest days of the COVID-19 pandemic in Oregon. As such, These reasons, and the Tillamook County Public Health Officer, Dr. Melissa Paulison, along with other several healthcare providers, urge the use of masks when in crowded indoor places, such as the grocery store, and also to stay up to date with vaccinations. As the holidays continue to approach and more of us start to gather with our friends and family, we might want to consider changing or postponing those gatherings if our family includes young children, older adults, or individuals with underlying health conditions. So if you're feeling ill with flu-like symptoms, please stay home. Contact your healthcare provider to see about potential testing options, which we'll talk more about in this report. If you do test positive for COVID-19, please follow the 5-day isolation period and then 5 days of mask wearing afterwards. Please continue to frequent hand washing and disinfecting of high-touch surfaces to stop the spread of these disease. And it's not too late to get your flu shot or your COVID-19 booster to protect yourself from getting sick. Flu and COVID-19 vaccines remain available by appointment at many healthcare facilities and pharmacies here in the county, including our main health center location. For resource and support with isolation or finding a vaccine, you can call our public health line. It's 503-842-3940, or you can call 211. OHA is no longer staffing their COVID-19 support line that they had. Now back to the free at-home COVID test kits that was brought out earlier. They are still available in all county library branches as well as at our main clinic office. The federal mail order program also has returned. You can go to covid.gov/test, request those 4 free COVID test kits to be delivered directly to them. And then you can put in a request even if you had ordered from the link in the past. Now when it comes to those expiration dates that may have questions, we are putting on our website the different brands that we have. We have the iHealth COVID test kits, and there's Quidel COVID test kits. We're putting on our website the link from the FDA that shows the expiration dates. So all you have to do is, if you have your COVID test kits, take a look at the lot number, and then you can verify what the current expiration date is. Now, we request, this is from Oregon Health Authority too, that if you do have test kits out, not to throw them away. We haven't heard per OHA any further past expiration dates from the FDA yet, but we are in anticipation of hearing from it, and once we do, we'll also post that on our website. And that's our report. Then we'll go ahead and turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Ed Colson. Appreciate that report very much. Do we have any questions for Ed Colson?
Oh, Commissioner, I forgot one more paragraph. Sorry, I forgot one more paragraph once I got. We just want to remind everyone that the health centers will be closed the 23rd of this month and the 26th, as well as January 2nd for the holidays. And the health department wants to wish everybody in the county a safe, happy, and healthy holiday season.
Thank you for that, Ed. Appreciate it very much. Okay, let's move on to the Nehalem Bay Health Center and Pharmacy. Gail Nelson. Gail, are you with us?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, Ed, for those updates. It's very valuable information. Do appreciate that each week. I have 4 announcements briefly. Yes, we do have the flu and COVID vaccines available. We also have our COVID test kits available at no charge, plenty of tests. And thank you to all who have frequently picked up tests here at the clinic. We have protocols in place for testing individuals here at the health center for the flu. We've ramped up our safety and sanitation protocols for the protection of patients and staff. And of course, we do have our triage line available for individuals to speak with a nurse with any questions or concerns about the flu. Our number here is 800-368-5182. And our kids' COVID booster and crafts event is today. Art supplies and crafts set up for the kiddos. You can visit our website, reinhardtclinic.org, or Facebook page. And of course, another reminder of our name change, which will soon be official starting in January. You'll start hearing more of how we're using the name. It formerly, of course, the Nehalem Bay Health Center and Pharmacy, rather than the Reinhardt Clinic. It's been a long, detailed process, and again, we thank you for your patience as we continue to work through this. And finally, yes, we are closed Monday, the 26th of December. And I'd like to wish everyone a safe holiday season and Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Gail. Appreciate it very much. Any questions for Gail Nelson? Let's go to the Tillamook Family Counseling Center. Frank Hanna-Williams. Frank, are you with us?
Good morning, Commissioners and all. This is Frank Hanna-Williams, Director, Tillamook Family Counseling Center. Behavioral health services for Tillamook County residents. You can reach us for information about services and for appointments by calling 503-842-8201 or 1-800-962-2851. Would like to wish everyone a happy holiday, and also to let you know that we will be closed on Monday, December 26th, but open the other times around the holiday, and of course our crisis line and will also is accessible by calling the agency's number. So services will be not on the day we'll be closed, which will be Monday the 26th. But if there are concerns, if there is a issue related to a behavioral health concern, which is more urgent and requires the response of a clinician that we would have on call, please call us at, again, 503-842-8201 or 1-800-962-2851. And take any questions if anyone has any.
Ed, thanks so much, or excuse me, Frank, thanks so much for being with us. Any questions for Frank Hanna-Williams? Thank you, Frank.
Thank you.
Go to the Sheriff's Office. Do we have Sheriff Brown with us?
Good morning, Commissioner. I am here.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. So we've had a couple of higher profile cases come up in the last handful of days. If anybody has been following Facebook, or if they're listening on the scanner, they're probably aware of them somewhat. A few days ago, we had a burglary that happened early in the morning, and from there, deputies responded, and the suspect in the stolen vehicle fled, and there was a short pursuit into town where the vehicle ended up getting stopped, and the subject then ran on foot, and we brought in a neighboring agency's canine unit, and that canine was able to track the subject to water. Therefore, we lost the track, we lost the scent, and we called it for the day. The next day, a suspicious subject was called in at the Sheridan Square Apartments. Turns out it was our suspect, and that suspect was taken into custody after resisting somewhat. We believe that this suspect may be involved in a handful of burglaries or thefts around our county in recent weeks. So it's good that we were able to catch this subject with the help of Tillamook City Police. So that's good that we took care of that one. The second one, we actually did a press release on our social media page. A little plug for our social media page and our PIO, Deputy Paul Fournier. We do have information on there it's a little bit more information, but it was a result of investigations by our detectives into some sex crimes. We were able to complete the investigations enough to take subjects into custody on some serious charges. Again, I would encourage you to read our Facebook page post because it is a good place for the press releases that we had on it. Our detective crew is down to only 3, which normally we run 5. So, with some of the larger cases that we've had, of course, everybody I'm sure is aware of the recent homicide that we had. We had another one earlier in the year in Nehalem, and so they're busy with that, and they just have done a phenomenal job keeping up with these cases. Obviously, cases like what recently came out, the sex crime cases, those are very important to our staff here that we work those as best we can. So they've done a phenomenal job. So I just want to say kudos to our detectives. So aside from those, again, if you listen to the scanner or you know, if you're a local and you've been around for a while and you hear things, we did have a little bit of a rash of crashes over this weekend. I looked back on some stats from Friday through Sunday, and we had 9 crashes that the sheriff's office or other agencies responded to that I was able to track down, which in a given weekend or in a 3-day period, that's quite a bit. Of course, we don't ever want to see that. I did look at the entire month of December, basically the 1st of December till today, which obviously we have a little bit of the month left. But in 2021, we responded to 21 crashes. We are at 26 right now. So we're definitely up from last year's numbers of motor vehicle accidents. Like I said, 9 of those occurred this weekend. So, you know, this adverse weather is obviously going to be a big part in it. In this conversation, or talking about the number of crashes is a great segue into just a consistent and constant reminder to just slow down and be safe. Understand that this weather, the cold weather, the wet weather, can make very dangerous situations when you're driving on the road. So slow down, give yourself plenty of space in between vehicles so that you have room to react if need be. And obviously, please be safe. The last place that we want to see anybody is on a crash on the side of the road. So with that, that's all I have for this week, and I'll take any questions if you have them.
Sheriff Brown, thank you so much for being with us. Most importantly, thank you for everything that you and your office does, as well as all law enforcement in Tillamook County. You guys have a really, really tough job, and unfortunately, we're seeing some things happen in Tillamook County that we don't normally see. But it appears to me very much so that you and your staff have everything well in hand. We appreciate it so much. Keeping people in Tillamook County safe is your primary mission, and my feeling that you guys do a terrific job. I do have one question, so I'm not sure that people understand that in the Eureka area, Northern California, there was a 6.4 earthquake, and it created quite a bit of damage, lots of power outages. Are you hearing anything from any southern Oregon counties? Have they felt this at all, do you know?
I've had nothing come through. You know, the sheriffs have a listserv email, and we communicate quite often, so I would imagine if something did pop up from southern counties, or if they needed assistance, or if they were responding with help, or if they felt it, that type of information would definitely be shared amongst sheriffs, and I've heard nothing come across, so we can maybe think of that as a good thing, I guess. I'm not sure.
I agree. I mean, the earthquakes can be devastating. They can, and 6.4, that's not a huge earthquake, but you can certainly feel a 6.4. I've been in a 6.0, 6.1 before, and you can really feel it. So again, Sheriff, I want to thank you so much. Do we have any questions for Sheriff Brown? Thank you, Sheriff, for being here.
Thank you.
Let's move on to emergency management. Randy Thorpe. Randy.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Hey, good morning.
It looks like the word for this week is freezing rain. The National Weather Service out of Portland has been holding daily weather updates for the emergency managers within the state, and we're going to have another one today at 1 o'clock. So hopefully they'll not have too devastating of news for us. But what we're looking at is our coldest temperature of the year is going to come on Wednesday night through Friday, and they're talking lows in the lower teens here on the coast. And we're going to couple that, of course, with our king tides on the 22nd through the 24th, with those high tides being around about 10 feet. So we may see some coastal flooding. I asked them directly if we were going to get enough precipitation to raise our rivers to a flood stage, and at this time their predictions are saying that our amounts will not raise the rivers up into the flood stage. So that is some of the good news through this. but we're going to start seeing some heavier amounts next week. So hopefully we'll skirt around the flooding even next week. So, but they're talking with this freezing rain, so be extremely careful, as everybody said, when you're traveling, and check the trip check before you go anywhere. Just for information, ODOT did close down Interstate 84 through the gorge due to the freezing rains this morning and slide-offs and some other accidents. So again, we are going to see that freezing rain, and so be extremely careful when you're out there. Like I say, if you are going to travel, definitely check the trip check to make sure that the route that you want to take is open. So, and that's all I have for this week.
Randy, thanks so much for being with us as always. Any questions for Randy Thorpe, our emergency manager? Thank you, Randy. Let's go to the Board of Commissioners. Commissioner Scar.
Good morning. Thank you.
Hey, good morning. So I understand you, like me, have been having some audio problems.
I have. I am back on the computer because I got kicked off the telephone. So if you all lose me and I am mid-sentence, it's because my audio has dropped off and I probably won't know until it's too late. So the good news is it tends to last for between 10 and 20 seconds, sometimes as much as 30, so you won't miss a whole lot. You can probably piece it together. That's what I've been doing. I know. You gotta love technology, right? I've had lots of conversations lately about So I want to share that I was able to do this last week that were fun, because I know you all just kind of wonder what we do all day. So here's a couple things that I was able to do. One of them was to visit the Cape Mears Loop Road, and I won't say a whole lot about it because I think Commissioner Bell gave a very complete report about the Cape Mears Loop Road, but I will say it's a pretty impressive act of engineering to build that road over the mountains. There's some very steep areas. They've had to move a whole lot of soil. I know she talked about these styrofoam blocks that are being placed in a ravine in order to be able to cross it as a bridge. Just amazing engineering. So when we think, gosh, why is it taking 2 years? Now that I've been there, I understand why the construction is taking 2 years. When that road is complete, it will be a fabulous safety corridor for those communities to make sure there's more than one way out of Cape Mears, more than one way out of Oceanside, which is very critical. It will also provide a beautiful set of views going over the top. So I think we'll all look forward to that being open for so many reasons. So that was fabulous. I appreciate Chris Lady, our Director of Public Works, taking me out there and providing me the opportunity to see what the residents of Tillamook County are paying for with the transient lodging tax road money, because that is a piece of that, is our road money for sure. Although most of it is paid for with federal highways dollars, which is something, if it hadn't been for that, this road would not be repaired. It's a $22 million project, of which the Tillamook County is paying just over $1 million. So it's a great partnership. Okay, so that was a great thing that I had the opportunity to do. I also had the opportunity to go out and speak to a group this weekend that is called Uniting for Action on the Oregon Economy. And this is a group of folks that's comprised of people from Benton County, Multnomah County, and Tillamook County. And the purpose of this is for folks to really get to know one another, to learn how to communicate across our differences and our divides, and to put together some projects to better each of their communities while working with folks from other communities. So it's a great opportunity to go out and meet the folks who have taken on that challenge in this really, I guess I would say, divisive time that it feels like sometimes in our counties and our state. So I want to thank everyone who's a part of that, and for the opportunity to go and talk with them briefly about housing, what housing challenges look like here, so that the folks from our other counties could really begin to understand, again, some of those similarities and some of those differences. So great opportunity to get together with folks on a Saturday and just, talk about what's important. A couple of things that happened last week that I think are important for people to know. We passed the property tax exemption ordinance. Let's see, it's the property tax exemption ordinance number 85 after a public hearing last week. We had 2 public hearings on that ordinance, and I want to talk just briefly about why that ordinance is important. So I talk a lot about the Housing Commission and the work of the Housing Commission, and one of the pieces that came out of the Housing Commission is this ordinance, Ordinance 85. The Housing Commission is working to create an environment in our communities that is friendly and helpful and supportive to developers of housing, because that is one of the key ways that we will get housing built. Ordinance 85 provides an opportunity for a developer to receive as much as a 10-year exemption from property taxes in order to make their project work financially. One of the challenges that we have here in Tillamook County is making projects work financially. What our workforce can afford to pay in rent doesn't always cover the cost of building the building that they will live in. So this provides an abatement to the builder, which gives them a chance to get to a space where they can charge a rent that people can afford, and they don't lose money as a builder, developer, operator, because that, of course, doesn't work either. And I think one of the things that I want to highlight, because people get very antsy and anxious when we start talking about affordable housing, workforce housing. What does that really mean? And so there's some numbers here I would love to share with you all, because I think it's important to understand that the housing that we're talking about for this property tax exemption can be affordable, which is housing that is for people who have 60% of area median income. And people say, well, what's that number mean? So I'm going to tell you, someone who is at 60% of area median income can afford rent on a 2-bedroom apartment of $1,077. Okay, so that's a pretty sizable rent. That's at 30% of their income. Okay, someone who is at 100% of area median income, so they make the average, that middle band of income in Tillamook County, can afford $1,795 for a 2-bedroom apartment. So I think I point that out just to let everyone know that this really is it is an assistance for people who are working in Tillamook County to have a place to live. The property tax exemption is one of the tools that we are targeting at workforce housing, at helping builders that are not going for state subsidy, but are really trying to build housing here in Tillamook County for our workforce. And when we did our round of grants, we had 6 grants that we are awarding, and only one of those was true affordable at 60% median and below. They are not going to be using this property tax exemption because they don't need that. They have other tools that they're able to use. We have others in that band that will be using it. So it's an exciting ordinance for us to have passed to help create a developer-friendly environment for workforce housing for people who are making that higher wage, but not high enough to really afford rent. So just wanted to give a little explanation behind that, because I think it is important, and we certainly hope our developers out there will use this exemption to provide housing projects in Tillamook County. We also had another opportunity on Wednesday. We at the county are working on efficiencies in our departments. One of the key things that we want to make sure is that we are looking at how we do what we do and how can we do it in the best possible way as we see the inflation rising and our revenues don't rise as fast as inflation. It's extremely important that as county departments we are working smarter, not harder, because we are at that point where the revenue to expense is going to get very, very challenging for us to continue to offer the services that we are mandated to offer to you and want to offer to you in the best possible ways. So over this last year, we had an organizational assessment done of our Tillamook County Community Development Department to look at whether or not that particular department was using best practices, if they were organized in the best way possible, and if we were being as efficient as possible. And I'm pleased to share that that department was given extremely high marks on being well organized and being efficient. And I know that it's an extremely challenging department to run. We have our planning department and our building department that are working very closely together there. I know that it feels very, very confusing to people sometimes when they go in there, because it is. The state laws around our land use program are very complicated, and I was pleased that our consultant that spent the time to really look into that department shared that in spite of all of the confusion that exists in the state land use program, our staff are very clear and they're doing a good job. So in the coming year, look forward to us looking into efficiencies in all of our departments to see how we can do the best job with the resources we have. But I wanted to share that that was an exciting report to get. There's a little bit of new software they're recommending that we will be pricing out to see if that's an option that would increase efficiency. So just wanted to share that with everyone. Okay, the last two things are things that are coming up that I think people might want to know about. One of them is that in today's board meeting, tomorrow's board meeting, we will be looking to award the contract to dredge at Memaloose. I know this has been a hot topic for people so that we can clean out the boat launch and get it safe for fishermen so we can use both lanes. The county process is slow, as you all know, and what we will do this week is just announce an intent to award, which we must do, and then we have to wait 2 weeks after that before we can award the contract. So the contract is anticipated to be awarded on January 4th with scheduling for the cleanup of the boat launch immediately thereafter. So fingers crossed that all goes according to plan. The county will have a mid-year budget review meeting coming up on January the 6th at 2 p.m. If you are interested in the county budget and you want to know where we are sitting today, what concerns exist, how is our revenue working, where are we on expenses, that will be at 2 p.m. on the 6th of January. It will be in the commissioner's meeting room here at the courthouse. There will also be a remote option, which will be on the calendar for the Board of Commissioners. Prior to that meeting, you will be able to dial in and listen if you wish to do that. So just want everybody to know the transparency of the county. We work very hard to make sure that our meetings are made public so that you can be a part of that. And as we talk about our budget, I think that's important. Everyone has the right to know where your tax dollars go, how we spend them, and how we're doing. So please join us. The last thing I will talk about is something that I spoke about last week as well, and that is CARES event that is happening tomorrow on Wednesday, December 21st. It is called The Longest Night, and it is an opportunity to recognize people who have lost their lives while they were experiencing homelessness. The vigil will start at 4:30. And that will be held in the green space located on First between Pacific and Main, across from the old Rodeo Steakhouse. And there will be an opportunity to light a candle, to tell stories, to hold a banner for those who are driving by to see you. And then there will be a procession to the First Christian Church, which is where the warming center is being held this year. And they will prepare and open the warming center at 8 p.m. This, I believe, is the first opening of the warming center for the winter. This is back to a congregate warming center, which is a change. They had been doing individual rooms at a hotel during the largest outbreak of COVID because congregate centers were not allowed. Once again, we can do congregate centers, and so the warming center will be opening that night. So we just invite everyone to join CARE and others as we remember those who have lost their life while experiencing homelessness. And with that, after what seems like a very long report, I will turn it back over to you, Commissioner Yamamoto.
Thank you, Commissioner Starr. Appreciate that report very much. So I'll try to be brief here. I talked about our combined Tillamook Lightwave meeting with NOAANet and Astound Broadband. This included all three boards of the port and PUD and the county. And it was a great meeting. I thought it was just a terrific organizational meeting. I think we're on track. I'm expecting big things out of Tillamook Lightwave, and especially with the addition of NOAANet to Astound Broadband. And things are definitely moving in the right direction there. So, but again, I just want to warn everybody. I've had people ask me constantly, so where are we? Why aren't we seeing fiber brought to my home yet? Well, anytime you're talking infrastructure, these things do tend to take a long time. So bear with us. We're definitely moving in the right direction. Also last week, I attended an OBAC meeting, Oregon Broadband Advisory Council. And, well, I'm not going to say it's a holdup, but the Oregon Broadband Office, New Business Oregon, and the Oregon Broadband Advisory Council is an advisory council to Business Oregon. We're still developing rules on how this money is going to be spent in the state of Oregon. We're getting close, we really are. But we're talking a goodly amount of money here. And so these rules and regs have to meet federal standards first and foremost, but then they have to meet state government standards also, what the state government wants to do with this money, where they feel that it's most important. Believe me, as the county commissioner representative on OBAC, I feel, and I think everyone else is starting to really see this, this money is really earmarked for rural areas that have a huge lack of high-speed internet. The metro areas all do very well with high-speed internet. It's the rural areas that really need the help. And so I'm fighting very, very strongly to make sure that a lot of this money, most of this money that's being dedicated to the state of Oregon really is pushed towards rural areas such as Tillamook County. Also last week, the executive board of the Council of Forest Trustland Counties met with Mike Wilson, State Forest Division Chief, and Kel Mukamoto, Oregon State Forester. We just had a 2-hour discussion about how we feel things should be happening at the State Forest Division level. And we don't always see eye to eye, but it's good for us just to have these conversations from time to time. They understand the concerns that we have to a point, but they also are bound by the governor's office and the Board of Forestry, and so we don't see eye to eye always on these issues. We don't. But these types of discussions are good. Just get it out there on the table so that everyone knows exactly where we're coming from, which is important. We're also going to have a quick meeting with them on the 6th of January. They are rolling out a new IP, a new implementation plan. And what they're doing here is very troubling to us. Even though we're continuing to work on the Habitat Conservation Plan and it has not yet been adopted, it even hasn't even gone through the EIS process. That implementation plan that they're rolling out, which is a 2-year implementation plan, is going to basically enforce many of the tenets of the HCP, the Habitat Conservation Plan, which hasn't even been adopted yet by the Board of Forestry. So again, this is very troubling to us. It has the potential to really start to decrease timber harvest on state forest land in the state of Oregon. And when you talk about the 3 largest counties taking money in from forestry, we're talking Tillamook County, Clatsop County, Western Washington County. Again, it's very troubling. We continue to work on this as quickly as we can. So with that, I think I will just stop there, and let's move on to the city. So, Leela Aman from City of Manzanita. Leela, are you with us?
I am, and good morning, Commissioner and everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to talk. Hi.
Absolutely.
So just a few updates today. I did want to make notes that I want to congratulate the county for passing its changes to Ordinance 85. The city passed that ordinance just recently, and our 30-day mark has passed, and so that is now currently in effect in the city of Manzanita. So hoping to see some workforce housing applications come through in the next year. I did want to also mention that the city will be receiving a draft of a regional transportation systems plan that we've been working on for the last 2 years through a grant through ODOT with the cities of Nehalem and Wheeler. So that's a very exciting plan that will be coming forward before the city councils and the planning commissions of Manzanita, Wheeler, and Nehalem starting in January. That 2-year effort included a significant amount of public outreach, and the plan includes a number of projects that are prioritized and a funding strategy proposed for those. So I know that our city looks forward to adopting that plan and moving forward with its implementation. I did want to mention that the city is still looking to hire a part-time public works staff person. If anybody is interested in that position, you can go to the city's website to download the application. That position is open until filled. Another note, just to remind folks, and this came up earlier, that we do have some significant king tides coming in December 22nd through the 24th, so just to be mindful when you're out on the beach. And as I always say, my mom always taught me growing up in Oregon, never turn your back to the ocean. Also, just a big shout out to our local businesses who will be open for the holiday season. So please do support all your local businesses in your downtowns. And also just a gentle reminder, if any of those businesses are listening, that your business license renewals are due at the end of January. A few other points to make. City offices will be closed December 23rd, December 26th, December 30th, and January 2nd for the holidays. When we reopen on January 3rd, we will also be reopening 9 to noon for counter service. Just also a reminder that the first City Council meeting will be held via Zoom on January 4th at 6 p.m. where we will be swearing in 2 city councilors and a new mayor. We will also be holding Planning Commission in January on the 17th. The Martin Luther King holiday is on the 16th, where that meeting would normally be held. And we will hopefully be welcoming 3 new planning commissioners to that meeting as well. So with that, thank you very much, and I look forward to speaking with you next week.
Lisa, thank you so much for being with us. How about the city of Nehalem? Do we have Melissa Thompson-Kiefer or anyone else from the city of Nehalem? City of Wheeler, do we have Mayor Doug Honeycutt or anyone else from Wheeler? Rockaway Beach, Mayor Sue Wilson, or anyone else from Rockaway? City of Garibaldi, Mayor Tim Hall.
Yeah, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, good morning.
Yes, tonight our Garibaldi Fire and Rescue staff and volunteers will hold their annual parade of lighted fire trucks. The volunteers and staff have been spending the day getting those vehicles ready to parade through Garibaldi tonight. The parade starts at about 6:30 p.m. and will move throughout the city. And finally, on behalf of Garibaldi, I'd like to say a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to all of Tillamook County. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate that very much. Go to Bay City, Mayor David McCall. Mayor, are you with us? What about the city of Tillamook? Nathan George. Nathan.
Good morning, Commissioner. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, good morning.
Wonderful. Good morning. So great to hear all the reports. I especially appreciate hearing my colleague and fellow city manager, Layla, from Manzanita. That's always wonderful, too. Yes, I have several things. Thank you very much. I want to review the council from last night, which we had on December 19th. And we had minutes from November and December were approved. We had a presentation scheduled for the Tillamook Revitalization Association. They were unfortunately unable to attend, and we will move that presentation to the next meeting. But wanted to let the community know that presentation will be in January. Also, the City Council voted to approve the City Manager contract, a 4-year contract, and the City Council also had reviewed different salary ranges for other cities in Oregon, especially on the coast, and the City Council made an adjustment to make it more in line with those other cities and other organizations, other cities in our community area, our county, and within the state. So that was greatly appreciated. Also, on Tuesday, January 3rd, 2023, council meeting has been canceled, and the city will re-adjourn session at the usual monthly meeting on November 17th, 2023. For your information, council meetings are held on the first and third Monday of the month, except when a holiday falls on either of those days. In that case, the meeting is moved to a day after, which is Tuesday, hence the 2 Tuesdays, but the first one's been canceled in January. In the police department, your Tillamook Police Department, so we'd like to thank everyone that participated by taking children shopping, and for those who helped wrap presents for making the annual Shop with a Cop a huge success on Saturday morning, December 16th, 2022. Last Saturday. So many children are going to have a wonderful Christmas this year because of all your help. That's what it's all about. Our community members and all the stakeholders and our other agencies, and most importantly, we thank our local Fred Meyer Hypermarket for hosting this event. We'd also like to thank the community for their support and assistance as we were able to take a suspect into custody for a plethora of charges, including a home invasion, burglary, and vehicle theft on Saturday morning. One of our police departments, one of your officers, was injured when he used his vehicle to stop the suspect from seriously injuring or killing innocent people due to the suspect's reckless behavior. The officer, our officer, your officer, is recovering at home, and we appreciate your kind words of support. The city greatly appreciates the partnership with all law enforcement, but especially in this case with the Tillamook County Sheriff's Department, Sheriff's Office, to apprehend the suspect who threatened our community and our citizens. So I just want to reiterate to everyone, please remember the saying, if you see something, say something. Please don't just post on social media. That doesn't help anyone, especially getting our emergency services notified. Our emergency services are not scanning social media to see if there's anything. We rely on our dispatch system. We really highly emphasize people, please call in if you see something, say something. Many things are preventable or easily, maybe not easily, but taken care of as soon as possible, and they will be taken care of. In the Public Works Department, our water crews are finishing up with a water service line job south of town. The water crews are continuing work on our meter maintenance. The street division, it's all in the Public Works Department, has replaced 2 stop signs due to damage. The wastewater division crews are in the process of reinstalling an air blower that was down for service at our wastewater treatment plant. Staff has maintained normal operations to the best of our abilities. This week, we are pleased to announce the city has 2 new employees that started in the Public Works Department this week. We're excited to have them both on board and pleased to announce that we are getting closer to filling all open positions in this department. We will also have an experienced project manager starting in January. This person will report to Public Works Director and will be responsible for overseeing all city capital infrastructure projects. The city has many large projects, including the $12 million water transmission line replacement that Representative Weber worked so hard for over 10 years to obtain the funding. I had the opportunity to have Representative Weber in my office here a few weeks ago, and she told us the story of how she'd worked so hard to obtain that funding. And I and the staff had no idea she'd been working for over 10 years on that funding. So we greatly appreciate that. I know there were other representatives involved, and other people, especially politicians. We really appreciate that. We're excited to move forward in working to improve our city and community. And again, if you observe any pothole or any other concern or issue in the streets or our parks, please email publicworks@tillamookor.gov. That's also on our website, that email address, or call our main number and follow the prompts of the Public Works Department. The city has a vacancy on the City Budgets Committee. If you are interested in serving or know someone's interested in serving, please have them call the city or visit our website at tillamookor.gov. The city also now has 2 vacancies on the Tillamook City Planning Commission. These vacancies are for a 4-year term that expires February 28, 2027. The interested persons should submit a volunteer application along with a letter of interest to the City Planning Office by Friday, February 10th, 2023. That is a commitment of once a month, and that is a great place if you're really interested in being a part of our community and planning and looking at what's going on. That would be a great place to be. The city will have several positions posted later this month for positions in our Finance Department, City Hall. We encourage everyone interested in working with a great team to apply. And finally, the City Hall will be closed noon on Friday, December 23rd this week in observance of the Christmas holiday, and will reopen on Tuesday, December 27th. Also, City Hall will then be closed on Monday, January 2nd, 2023 in observance of the New Year's holiday. So we wish everyone happy holidays. Thank you, Commissioner.
Nathan, thank you as always for being here. Appreciate your report very much. Last but certainly not least, Doug Olson, South County. Doug, are you with us?
I am. Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
Not too much to report this week. Officially, winter starts tomorrow, and I think it already started a few weeks ago, but nonetheless, tomorrow's the official day. I'll put on my PUD hat just for a moment. As a PUD director, there have been a number of outages this past week, and that's not unusual for this time of year because trees tend to come down. Sometimes they ice up, and of course, people do slide off the road and hit a pole. But I think in virtually every case, power was restored within a few hours. And that's unlike some years ago where it took a day or two, sometimes 3 days, people were without power, which in Tillamook County means you're not only without light, you may be without heat as well. And so we do a lot better these days, and the equipment is much better. We can actually pinpoint an outage in a matter of minutes electronically, send a crew and either replace the equipment or put things back together. So lots of improvement, but I'm sure we'll have another outage or two before winter is over. Now I'll switch over to South County for a moment. Our chamber is planning for next year, and we're going to emphasize, at least early on, the new businesses. There's at least a dozen or more new businesses in South Tillamook County, and we want them to get a running start and some support, so we'll be featuring them as we get into January and February. So these folks have come out of the pandemic. They've risked their money and opened a business or expanded a business, so good for them, and we'll try and back them the best we can and hope for the best. So with that, Commissioner, I'll wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and we'll talk again next week. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Doug, as always, for being with us. I want to thank everyone for attending today, but special thanks to KTIL for broadcasting this live as they do every Tuesday morning. And with that, I also would like to wish everyone that's listening a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And time being 9:11 a.m., we're going to adjourn this community update. Thank you, everyone.